We got one NFL team without a real home, and now we got one NFL team wondering why, even though they've done nothing wrong and nothing is no fault of their own, they continue to have their schedule pushed back. Of course, that would be in order: the Denver Broncos, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we get into all of it, and there's so much to talk about, how was the break? We haven't seen everybody in 5 days. Good morning to everybody back with us if you're back up and at it.
Well, I'm still trying to get rid of some of the food that's in my refrigerator. It'll go out today, though. We're done with the whole Thanksgiving. You know, you can't continue to run that back. You run it back once, maybe twice if you have a little things. But after that, it's got to go. But the weekend was good. USC didn't play, so I didn't get a chance to watch that. Got a chance to watch Alabama, Auburn, some other college football. Saw Michigan take another one on the chin. Obviously saw a little bit of Rutgers, big win for you.
Huge.
On the road against Purdue. They were heavily favored. No, it was just, it was good. The weekend was good, I must say.
Plenty to run into. Our front office insider, Mike Tannenbaum, will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We'll go into the very near term for the Broncos, like what they need to do, and the long term for the Lions, who are now starting
What did you do?
Again. What is
I
that?
gave you what I did. What happened to you over the weekend?
It's funny. I was in one of those situations where I'm not a big Thanksgiving guy.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I just literally sat there and watched, I guess it would be 9 hours of football. It was going to be 9, and then the Thursday night game didn't happen. I was prepared to just sit there in front of my TV and watch.
Yeah.
But Thanksgiving's never been a huge holiday for me.
Another letdown by the Cowboys.
Right. I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons it's not huge for me, just to give you a quick insight, all of my family practically lives
elsewhere.
in India.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just my father, my brother. So, they're on the opposite coast. So we just decided to just call each other, or is the way we do it now, just text each other and wish each other a happy
Well,
Thanksgiving.
next year we got a plate and a setup for you right at my table, so don't worry.
I appreciate it.
If it wasn't COVID, you were more than welcome to come.
I appreciate it. Let's dig right into it. Again, Jay will be with us here at 6:15 Eastern. By the way, our poll question this morning, you can tell if you were watching any level of football yesterday on the Dr. Pepper Twitter feed on the Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin Nation. Simply put, presented by Dr. Pepper. It's official. College football's back. So is your favorite Dr. Pepper college football town, Fansville. Head to a store near you to treat your inner college football fan to an ice cold 20-ounce Dr. Pepper. Today, the simple question, are the Bucs going to make the playoffs? Right now, they are sitting in the 6th spot. They're 7-5. They got Minnesota coming up in their next game. They're just a shade ahead of the Cardinals, who won the last spot. Love to hear from you. Key J and Z, 888-SAY-ESPN. Is Tom and company going to make the playoffs? An unthinkable question when the season started. Unthinkable. What did you see last night?
Well, when I look at the schedule, the 4 remaining games, they play Atlanta twice in there and Minnesota coming up, much like you mentioned. That's a tough, those 3 games alone right there. Got a coach fight and try to keep a job in Raheem Morris, which he's doing a hell of a job. He should just be given the job, in my opinion, second time around. Mike Zimmer, Minnesota Vikings are still trying to make whatever little bit of the season left, possibly a playoff push based on what happened to the Bucs last night. Kansas City was just too much for them. Firepower-wise, they got out early. Tyreek Hill, you saw what he was able to do.
Wow.
Just ridiculous. I was hoping he got the 300 yards, though. I wanted to see him get the 300, and if he got the 300, I wanted to see him get the 400.
As a wide receiver, for those that missed it, 269 yards receiving. He had 203 yards receiving, folks, in the first quarter.
Yeah.
He had 203 yards receiving in the first quarter. Mahomes hit him on touchdowns of 75, 44, and 20 yards.
Well, that happens when I really didn't understand, and Todd Bowles knows this. He knows better as a defensive coordinator. You don't allow guys like Tyreek Hill to have free access and just run down the field unimpeded with no one touching him. Playing man-to-man without real help or without jamming them at the line of scrimmage, you're going to lose that battle every single time. And the way that you defeat the Kansas City Chiefs is you have to play physical and hard like the Raiders. You got to get up and challenge the defensive backs have to get up and challenge the receivers of the Kansas City Chiefs. So therefore, when Patrick Mahomes goes to throw the football, he knows that it's going to be tough and I got to get the ball out there. My guys are going to be rerouted. But when you allow them to just run up and down the field, it's ridiculous. And on top of that, it was great game planning by Eric Bieniemy to understand that the guys that were covering Tyreek Hill Dean couldn't keep up with him. It was just like, there's the duck. We're going to shoot him down. Fine 24, wherever he's at on the field, and we're going at him. And that was one of the things that Eric Bieniemy and that staff did from an offensive standpoint. But defensively, the Bucs didn't do enough. They just they did not do enough to cover up some of their deficiencies in the secondary.
Are their Super Bowl aspirations done?
I never really thought that the Tampa Bay Bucs were a Super Bowl team. I understand we get excited in sports media fan base. They get so excited that Tom Brady and Gronkowski is coming to town and, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. Look at Vegas. The Vegas says we're favorite. We're doing this. We're doing. No, I never felt that way. I always felt like Seattle, New Orleans, Green Bay, were those three teams was kind of going to be the ones that would come out of the NFC. When you think about it, yes, Tom Brady's won 6 Super Bowls, been to 9. But there's no offseason. There's a pandemic. He's going to a new system and trying to learn exactly what it is that they need to get done within this system. It's not 20 years of New England. I know everything about New England system because I built the system. I am the damn system. I can run the system blindfolded, where you look at some of the things in Tampa and you say to yourself, what are they asking Tom Brady to do? Are they asking Tom Brady to do Tom Brady things, or are they asking them to do Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich things? Mine is more Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich. Just watching the game, not being in the meeting room, but also understanding an offense that I've seen in New England over the last 20 years, and some of the concepts that they did in New England has not transferred with Brady to Tampa Bay.
It's something that Tony Romo said earlier this week, and he essentially
I'm listening to me. I ain't listening to Tony.
But he essentially said what you said, which is everything in New England was just instinctual. I can just turn around, close my eyes, 2.5 seconds, put the ball up. No Edelman is going to be there. And there's no way outside of Gronkowski he can have any sort of relationship like that with any Bucs player.
Tony's 100% right about that, though. You could just, that's why when you think about players and you think about guys moving from team to team, it's people say, well, why would he go there? Familiarity. Maybe not with the team or the system. Maybe not with the team or the organization, but with the system that's being run. Is I can go right now to a number of teams that I played for. If those systems are in place, if I went to Oakland right now after however long I've been retired, it's second nature. I'll pick it up like it's nothing. But if I go to the Tampa Bay Bucs, I've never been in Bruce Arians' system. So it's going to be foreign language to me. I'm going to be like trying to figure it out. But if I go to New England, or if I go to where those systems, you just plug me right in. It may look ugly. It may look like that Mike Tyson fight, nice and old, but I would know where to be and I would know where I need to go. And I think Tom Brady is struggling at that outside of Gronkowski.
Even the elder statesman Brady is young compared to Mike Tyson. We'll talk about Tyson and his adventurous weekend at 6:45. Last thing, are the Chiefs beatable? Obviously they are because they've lost the game, but you know what I mean.
The right situation, you probably could catch him on a bad day, but if you catch him on the wrong day, you're going to get run out the building. That's just, I don't know how, I sit up and I marvel at Patrick Mahomes. He did something last night on a throw that was just, I know what it was. He manipulated. It didn't convert. It was a 3rd and 16.
Okay.
And it did not convert. But he got the ball out. The receiver tried to attempt to catch the ball, but they batted it down. Man, that was a hell of a throw. That was a hell of a throw. And they was like 1 yard short of the first down, Zubin. And I was saying to myself, okay, the receiver's, all right, whatever. But if that was one of the big boys receivers, that would have been a completion. But the throw was just crazy. And or the one that he dropped over the defender's head on a laser, back shoulder touchdown. That's picture perfect. You know how many times coaches have tried to get quarterbacks to do that and they can't for no reason at all?
We're now at a point where his incompletions are amazing. That's where we're at this point. And for the beatable aspect, yes, Raiders twice, clipped him once.
Not seeing him enough on commercials, though.
Yeah, should have lost to the Chargers, may have lost to the Bucs, but they pull out the win. On the way, speaking of win, this team has won 3 in a row. They're in first place. They had one of their biggest wins of the season. So why was the flight home so miserable? We'll get into that after Key has this from Sport Clips.
Remember being in your favorite Sport Clips, waiting for that great MVP haircut experience? Yeah, how about it? If they made that wait time even shorter. Now, with On Deck text alerts, you